Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So for those that don't know me, my name is Junako Tenzimura or Rooney. And at this point, if I can kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on. So today I have collaborated with the lovely Belinda Soni, who also goes by the name Afro Girl Diaries on Instagram and YouTube, and we're basically doing a part 2 video on accommodation. So if you haven't already, please go to part 1 and see the types of accommodations that are available as a student in the UK. I'll put the link below this video. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a little room tour of my place in Preston, and then Belinda is going to join me and she'll be talking about accommodation for students in the University of Manchester. So let's begin the room tour. So as you come into the village, the first thing you see is the parking. So there is a car park at the village and that costs about £60 per year. So it is relatively cheap, to be honest. And there is the main entrance, so there's a keypad to call any room you want to, but I have a fob, so I'll just let myself in. And so you first get in, the first thing you see is the lounge. The lounge is currently closed at the moment, so I can't show you anything in there, guys, sorry. So there's usually a TV and a pool table in there, and it's just a place for you to chill with your friends, you know, because it is much bigger than the room. So in the event where you have a studio apartment, you can just have your friends in there, chill, watch TV, book your computer in there. But like I said, it is closed at the moment because of COVID, so I can't show it to you. And as you walk in, there is your hand sanitizer and like you have to wear your masks inside, and you've got your office there that is usually staffed from Monday to Friday from about 9 to 4ish. There is a really nice caretaker here who literally is the most amazing person ever. And on my side there is the bike store where you can store your bikes in there if you happen to have a bike. I don't have a bike, so I've never been in that room. And then you have your post mail box, so you've got your post box place where you can get your post. Obviously that's self-explanatory, and there are basically 50 rooms around the village. There are very many different, all of them are self-contained. So there are studios, there's ones where there's sort of like a studio setting but the bedrooms are upstairs. There are also flats in the village, depends on how much you can afford, to be honest. And then there straight ahead we have the laundry. So you know, we've got the automatic lights, a bit fancy in there, and we've got 2 washers and 2 dryers, and the dryers cost £1.90 and you have to have coins, and the washers cost £2.90. Yeah, it's a bit of a rip-off, but hey, that's like laundry everywhere in student accommodation. So that's the one annoying thing about here, you have to have coins on deck. And then, you know, we take recycling seriously, so if you're like one of them recycling people, you know, this is the place for you. And then this is my flat. So as you enter, you've got sort of like a landing area where, you know, you can hook up your things. I put my shoes at the top, and behind that door is your water heater. That's my room at first glance, but I will take you to the bathroom first because that's the first thing that's there. So I've got the bathroom, you've got a basin, you've got a nice mirror there, cheese, and don't mind my mini stuff on my toilet counter. You've got your shower in there that is fairly decent. It's a very decent size. Trust me, you might think that's small, but I've seen way smaller showers. And then this is my room at the first glance. Apologies for me trying to hold my phone properly and taking this big video. That's the cupboard on the side, and then got the bed there that comes with the flat. Obviously the fan doesn't come with the flat, that's my fan. We've got a side table there. I bought that white table, and the couch comes with the flat. And then I sort of have my new study set up on the far corner of the room. And I'm in love with flowers and plants, so yeah, I've got plants. And right outside my room I've got a railroad, and there is a tire company behind my house, so whenever I have a flat tire, at least I know that I'm always rescued because it's literally right behind my house. And then this is the kitchen portion of the bit. So you've got your microwave that comes with the room and the fridge. I have 2 fridges because the fridge size, as you can see, is really, really small, so I had to get a second one. And that's basically your kitchen space, which is relatively okay. I mean, if you're one person, what more do you need? And then this is also like, this is the main study area, to be fair, but I don't study here. The TV comes with the room. So hi, I'm back again. Sorry for that abrupt stop. So yes, I've got a TV in my room. How many students can say that they have a TV in their room that's offered by their accommodation? Not so many. But anyway, so one thing I forgot to show you as well was a vending machine. So we've got a vending machine here, which is quite handy, especially when you need a snack in the middle of the night and most of the shops are closed. But anyway, I pay £140 per week and my accommodation is in Preston. Its location is quite nice because it's literally 10 minutes away from the main library, which is quite useful obviously during the years. I mean, I'm fine, I can study wherever, but I know people who can literally just study in the library, so this is a place to look at. And if you're a first or second year medical student, it's also 10 minutes from classes, which is quite useful. Unfortunately, in UCLan for 3rd, 4th and 5th year, your campus kind of changes to Burnley. Obviously, there's an exception in 3rd year where some students go to the West Lakes campus, which is in Whitehaven. But then in 4th year and 5th year, everyone is at Burnley campus. So really when you stay in Preston really doesn't matter because you're not even going to be on the Preston campus anyway. But like I said, the parking is £60 per year. And it's relatively cheap when it comes to parking, to be fair, unless you're opting for street parking, which is completely free. But I usually have phobias. I usually feel like I might wake up one day and there's like a big scratch on my car because someone has hit the car and went away. But anyway, and there are cameras all over the place. There's cameras in the car park and there's cameras around the accommodation. Really, this is now becoming a bit of like a promo video for accommodation here. I should really go to my accommodation manager and show them this video so I can get paid. Jokes. But anyway, the people that run this place is a company called Northwest Homes, and they actually have so many other accommodations, which is quite useful if you are a student in UCLan or you stay in Preston. So like I mentioned, there are very many different types of campuses depending on what year you are in your medical school. So for me, it would make sense for me to move to Burnley since I go to Burnley campus and I have some placement in Burnley and Blackburn Hospital. I mean, the university even advises for students to live in Blackburn, but I don't know for our year, this year, I don't know that many people that actually stay in Blackburn. Probably just a handful of people, to be honest, but the majority of the people stay in Preston. The reason why I decided to stay in Preston, to be fair, was because of just the social life. Like, I mean, I went to university in Manchester, which was like, there's so many people in Manchester, so many students, and then moved to Preston, which is a relatively small city, but it's still largely a student city. To be fair, I just wasn't ready to go to a new place away from all of my friends. I mean, you have the library in the hospital, unless you're going to the city library really, but the main library is still in Preston, and it just made sense for me to live in Preston. So I didn't mind the commuting in the morning, and also, to be fair, for GP placement, which is 1 day a week in 4th year, you never know where you're going to be placed. So you could move to Blackburn and then your GP placement is actually in Preston, or it's actually in Blackpool, which is on the other direction, and living in Preston is actually closer to Blackpool than Blackburn. So it was just one of those things whereby I knew that wherever I stayed, whether it was Preston or Blackburn, I still had to commute either way. So yeah, I decided to stay in Preston because, like I said, better social life, there's more amenities, there's even an African store in Preston, which I don't know if there's any in Blackburn. To be fair, there's so many other factors why I decided to stay in Preston. I'm just looking at this from a very reductionist view at this moment, because I could talk on and on and on and on forever. But anyway, so this is my bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm just gonna pass this over to Belinda, who's going to introduce herself and is going to talk about accommodation for University of Manchester students. So stay tuned.
Hi there, my name is Belinda from Afro-Girl Diaries. I am super excited to be collaborating with Rooney on this video. Without further ado, I am going to take you through some of the tips that I considered important from my own experience at University of Manchester. So hopefully you are super excited to be joining University of Manchester and you're just wondering, what should I think about when I am considering University of Manchester university accommodation. So without further ado, let's get started. So at University of Manchester, there are 3 campuses. There is the City campus, there is Victoria Park campus, and there is Fallowfield campus. And this only comes in handy when you're considering accommodation. So University of Manchester is a city campus. So you may have found out maybe about the different types of universities there are. When it's a city campus, it basically means it's not in one place. You won't go here and say this is University of Manchester. It is literally across the city. There are, of course, areas you can clearly see this is the university, but basically it's a city campus. It's distributed across the city of Manchester. So when we say city campus accommodation, basically mean accommodation that's within the city center, and it tends to be very close to the university. Then Victoria Park is literally just a distance away. You can actually walk from the city campus to Victoria Park campus. Then Fallowfield is the farthest, and it tends to be the biggest. It has the biggest halls of residence, so it's literally a student area. Compared to city campus. Of course, city campus, because it's the city, there are many other buildings there, so it tends to be very limited. Then Victoria Park, the halls start getting bigger and bigger, and then Fallowfield is proper student area. Like, you will literally tell this is a student area. So those are the 3 areas you need to consider. Where do you want to apply for your accommodation? If you're going to go the private route, or if you're going to go through the uni-owned halls of residence. But this will probably mainly apply if you're considering the halls of residence by the University of Manchester. So another thing that you'd probably want to consider, some of the factors that you need to select on your form, is what type of student you are, and this is mainly to do with who you'll be allocated to stay with, to share with. So if you're postgrad, you probably want to go for a postgrad type of accommodation, and if you are, undergrad student, you probably want to select that so that the people you're sharing with are people who are also in the same stage of life as you are. University of Manchester also has family accommodation, or if you have a partner, but it's very limited, so you might want to apply very early, or even work with the universities to help them. They can basically help you identify private accommodation that would work for you. But most of the halls of residence are usually for people who are single. So unfortunately it's very limited, but it's not that it's not there, it's just in very high demand. So you'd have to contact the university early in advance just to ensure you can get your accommodation, or to see what your options are. Another factor that is very important, and it basically differentiates the different types of accommodation in University of Manchester, is if it's catered or self-catered. So I stayed in self-catered. My first year was the only year that I stayed in uni halls of residence. After that, I stayed in private halls. So I stayed in Wright Robinson Hall, and that's in City Campus, because I was studying engineering. Our campus was in North Campus. I think now that's changed. They're building a whole engineering building in where the main campus is, but we were in North Campus. So I was staying in Wright Robinson Hall, and basically it was a self-catered hall with shared bathroom facilities. It was very basic. It was very among the cheapest options available. It was very good because actually the flat, we were staying in my level, on my floor, we were staying I think 10 people, but we had like 5 bathrooms available. So as much as you're sharing facilities, it was a very small ratio. So it's not a case where you're queuing up to go and shower. And all the common areas were actually cleaned more than once a week. I can't remember how long because it's 7 years ago, but they were quite clean. I don't remember that really being an issue. The main thing was actually people washing their dishes. So that was a case of people you're staying with, which you can't control. So people you've been allocated with, you kind of have to put up with people's different living habits. But yeah, sharing facilities. So that's another thing that you probably want to confirm. Do you want to share your bathroom or ensuite? Again, all that determines how expensive or how cheap your accommodation will be. They also have the option for studio flats. There are definitely some friends that I had who stayed in studio flats. I wish I knew about them much earlier, but again, they're more expensive. So University of Manchester offers guaranteed accommodation for all first year students. The caveat is that you make sure you've made your application by 31st August of the academic year that you're going to be starting. So make sure you've put your application in by 31st August, and definitely you will get accommodation. Also, you have to be alone, so it's not something that you're applying with a partner, because that would, you basically need different type of accommodation if you have a partner. And this is for all UK students. So if you're international, they guarantee you accommodation for the full duration of your course. So if you are doing a 4-year course, for the full 4 years, as long as you've applied by the deadline, University of Manchester will make sure that you've gotten accommodation. Also, if you're post-grad, only if you're international, then they guarantee that when you apply for sure, they're going to make sure that they have placed you in a student hall. Doesn't mean that, okay, I'm second year, I'm not international, I'm local student. What happens if I apply? They will probably still place you, it's just that they will prioritize these other people because they know you probably know your way around Manchester by now, and you probably go the private route. And honestly, most people by the second year they go the private route because it's normally cheaper, and by that time you're more settled, you know Manchester very well, so you probably know what areas to look for student houses in and what areas not to. So you know your way around, because most of the time student halls are usually when you're completely new in a city and you also want to meet people, so you don't really have a group of people you can share with, it's just your chance to meet people. But after first year, you probably have your friends now and you want to live together, and also you'll know your options. There's so many options, private halls and private houses. You can go for a house or a hall, whatever the option. Make sure you watch part 1 of this video and you can see the different options available for you. So hopefully you enjoyed this accommodation series. If you'd like us to do a Q&A, Rooney and I, to do a Q&A, if you have any other queries that we've not answered through this series, please reach out to us. We are more than willing to answer your questions and share our own experiences. Hopefully you can, get the information that you need from this. Thank you. Bye.